is Gary Thurman, your host, and I'm in here with my co-host today, Mr. Bobby Futch, Guardian Investment Advisors. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Bobby, what is going on with you, my friend?
We're just living life. Welcome to 2026, Gary.
Living life.
Yeah.
Can you believe it's already here, my friend?
I don't know what happened in 2025.
It blew
I feel
by.
like we were just here, 2 weeks ago talking about 2025.
You know what, Bobby? It's been an interesting year.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Lots of things went on in 25. I think I've talked to so many people that are like, you know what, I'm ready for the new year. I'm ready for some new beginnings. And I know we hear that every single year.
Yeah.
But there has been some crazy things going on this year. What's something, personally in your life, maybe, that was crazy?
I found out last year I'm having a new baby.
You are having a new
right,
baby?
So I'll have an almost 8-year-old and a brand new baby at home this year.
I kind of feel like I'm to blame for that because I took you to Mexico.
So I'm going to end up being one of those grandpas that, has a kid in college. But that's all right. That's all right. We're looking forward to Benji being here soon.
That's going to be awesome, man. I can't wait. I know you and I were in a meeting the other day, and I was talking about a trip that's coming up, and you're like, Gary, I can't go.
Yeah, scheduling meeting.
I'm going to have a baby.
I think I told you I want to stay married.
Yeah, you want to stay married.
As much as I like traveling with Guardian.
I love it. But today's show, we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about some different things, from mine and Bobby's perspective. We're going to talk about some things that happen financially. We're going to talk politically a little bit, but we're going to talk about some different things that just have happened over the last year. And I wanted to start with this. What a great way to start. Talking about national debt. I think that's just a great way to start. So right now, we are over $38 trillion.
With a T.
With a T. Over $38 trillion in debt. Now, they're estimating that we increased our debt in 2025 by $1.78 trillion.
Oh, it's down a little bit.
Hey, but get this, guys. Get this. This is fascinating to me. Our debt is increasing by $56,443 per second.
Wow.
It's increasing 3.3 million per minute, 203.2 million per hour, 4.88 billion per day.
It's incredible.
And taxes are not going to go up, Bobby.
Yeah, well, that's what people say. I don't know how so. Over the course of our show this morning, we'll have added over $3 million to the national
Think
debt.
about that.
It's incredible.
Think about that. And, I wanted to start with that because one of the things we talk about all the time on this show, when you and Tim and Brogan in here with the clients, and you're talking about now is the golden opportunity. Taxes are on sale. I know people are sick of hearing us say it, but it's just the truth.
It's so important, because the only revenue stream our federal government has is taxes.
Yeah.
Not necessarily income taxes, but that's a big part of it. And so if you're adding $3 million of debt, over $3 million of debt over the course of the show, how are you going to increase revenue if you're the federal government? You're going to have to raise taxes.
You're going to have to raise taxes. And we know right now that through 2028 that we feel they're locked in at this low rate, all the way back to 2017's rates, right?
That's right.
And we know 2028, who knows what's going to happen after that, because a new administration might come in or whatever the case may be. But right now, we're locked in.
That's right.
And is it the number one conversation you guys are having with clients in the office, Bobby?
Yeah, without a doubt. We spend most of our meetings talking about tax planning. Strategy in the market's important. Cash flow is, vitally important. But if you want to make the best out of all those things, we spend a lot of time talking about taxes.
You have to.
Because most people save for retirement, pre-tax retirement accounts. What that means is at some point, when you need the money the most, you're going to have to pull it out and pay income taxes.
That's right.
Okay, so 2028, we know that you're going to be in the third lowest income tax bracket we've ever been in this country. But where's it going to go from there?
That's right. We don't know.
I don't think it really matters what party's in the White House past 2028.
Yeah.
This has been a big deal that people have talked about for years, and it's only getting more worse.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to say it?
More worse.
It's only getting worse.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're going to have to address it at some point. Taxes have to go up.
Well, I wrote some figures down in here because I was looking at 2025 and talking about taxes, and I mean, it's just amazing to me. A lot of people, I think the biggest thing, Bobby, and you agree or disagree with me here. I think for retirees, I think one of the biggest things that they struggled with in 2025 had to be inflation and the cost of consumer goods. Do you agree with that or not?
Yeah, it's certainly on everyone's mind.
Yeah.
And what people need to realize is with inflation, the year-over-year number is actually down. Right?
The
was
numerical number is down.
yeah, it was under 3% last year.
Yeah.
Which is right where you want to be to kind of have a healthy economy. But again, if you back up a couple years, everybody remembers the 9+%
Right.
inflation number that happened quick. And unless the inflation number is negative, which you don't really want,
We do not want that.
the
Yeah.
cost of goods doesn't come down.
No.
And they all
Groceries,
change.
insurance, healthcare.
They all change a little bit different. That's an average number, less than
That's
3.
right.
We
Yeah.
had an education event that we put on for folks not too long ago, and we have a really cool slide in that, Gary, you'll remember this, that shows the inflation rates on different services
yeah.
And items. And while the number is about 3, again, healthcare costs, college tuition,
Yeah.
that's up over 20% year over year.
It's
And so there
crazy.
are things that are getting way more expensive quicker than inflation.
So we have an office in Knoxville, Tennessee now, Bobby, as you know.
Good old Rocky Top.
Good old Rocky Top. Excited about it. Brogan's our advisor up there. He's going to be amazing. But this was in the Knox News last week when I was up there. And the title of this was Grave Expenses. More Americans Struggle with Funeral Debt. Now, listen to this, guys. This survey that they took said that 37% of Americans have taken on debt after a loved one's death, the highest figure in the last 3 decades. 59% of them used credit cards. I mean, they're going into debt, and now they're going into something that has high interest rates tied to it. So it's even worse, Bobby. And here's what's happened: inflation has lifted consumer prices by at least 24% since early 2020, according to Bankrate.com.
Wow.
24%. Healthcare alone, is booming. It's about a 4.5-5% increase per year right now. And now it just costs more to bury a loved one. It used to be like $5,000.
Yeah.
Now you're lucky if it's 10.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I thought this article was interesting, talking about inflation, debt, all the different things that's been going on here in 2025. And what do you think surprised clients the most in 2025, Bobby?
I think what we spent the most time talking about was kind of the disconnect from what I'll call mainstream media.
Okay.
Right? Every
Okay,
week
that's
there was
good.
something on the news. The world was going to end, the market was going to flop, something terrible was going to happen.
Yeah.
But our market just, for the most part, aside from that early blip in April,
Right.
just tore through the year.
It did.
Right. And so we spent a lot of time having to talk. I wouldn't necessarily say talk people off the ledge.
Yeah.
It wasn't, as bad as post 08. I remember talking to people then.
Whew, that was tough.
Terrible. But there was a perceived disconnect. And we had a handful of clients that come in and say, listen, I'm here to see you because we're about to go into a depression.
Yeah. Yeah.
The market just doesn't say that. And I think the performance in the market bore that out over last year.
I agree. And I do think people are still concerned.
Sure.
Are they going to have a Social Security when they retire? Is it going to run out? You and I both agree that we don't think any administration is going to let that happen.
Yeah.
But that's on top of mind.
Sure.
It's something we hear all the time. Am I even going to have a Social Security, Gary? That's a big topic.
Yeah, especially for clients that are getting close to retirement, late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah.
Because you can start taking as early as 62, as you know, Gary. But here's the way I look at that is, again, that's one of those things that if you had an administration that wanted to prioritize it, could easily be solved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, the Social Security Trust is going to go insolvent fairly soon, right? I can't remember. They updated the
I think
numbers.
it's at 2037 now.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
After the One Big Beautiful Bill Act this year or last year.
Yeah.
It can easily be solved. So I think if you're getting close to retirement and you're safe and you're going to get your full benefit, really, and unfortunately for me, it's a political reason.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Do the administration that's in office want to be the one to cut Social Security benefits? No, because they're going to make a bunch of voters mad.
Oh,
right?
wow. Yeah.
And while that might not be a good reason to not mess with Social Security, if you're in your 30s, 40s, for most of those people, we plan like Social Security, at least how it's put together now, is icing on the cake.
Right.
I think most likely we'll see means testing.
Yeah, I do too.
And so the Social Security benefit will be in place for everybody. But if you have maybe a net worth over something, or you have retirement income over something, it'll be reduced or done away with.
Speaking of this right now, because this just came to the top of my head, in 2025, one of the biggest things that we talked about, we're going to talk about it more today, was that One Big Beautiful Bill.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing did come with that One Big Beautiful Bill, talking about doing Roth conversions, where folks now that are 65 and above, Social Security is still taxable.
That's right.
I know that's what they were saying, but they're getting a $6,000 tax deduction right now.
Yeah, so we'll remember when we were going in, even when President Trump ran the second time, going in the One Big Beautiful Bill, they were going to make Social Security not taxable.
Yeah.
Well, again, that didn't end up happening. To your point, Gary, it's still taxable income on your
Still
income tax
taxable.
return.
Yep.
But if you are over 65 years of age, you get an additional $6,000 income tax credit per person in your family. So if
That's
you're
right.
a married couple over
That's right.
65, you get extra $12,000 to take off your income taxes.
So could you use that and offset the taxes for a Roth conversion?
You could use it, right? So that makes like 90 some odd percent of Social
Right.
Security benefits non-taxable.
Right.
But what they didn't say is, hey, you have to use that $6,000 for Social Security income. You can use it for whatever you want.
That's right.
Right? So if you were in a position where you didn't pay very much in income taxes in retirement last year, you get an extra 12 grand of wiggle room.
That's incredible.
Don't get a big refund, although it feels good to cash the check,
Well,
right?
yeah.
Do $12,000 worth of Roth conversions.
Why would
and
you
still
not?
pay zero income
Why would you
taxes.
not?
It's a great opportunity.
My wife hates when I use this phrase, but it's a no-brainer.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. Listen, if you're out there and you're listening today and you want to know more about that deduction that you can take advantage of because of your Social Security, because of 65 and above, give Bobby a call. Come in and see Bobby, Tim Brogan. Have a conversation about doing some Roth conversions. Something we're doing right here in the new year is we're giving a copy of my book away absolutely free. Plan the day on tomorrow. All you have to do is call 423-710-9199. Let the ladies know you'd like a copy of the book. They'll send it right out. Or you can actually text the word book to the same number, 423-710-9199. When we come back, we're going to jump into some politics, taxes, and what really matters with your retirement. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Gary Thurman, owner and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. For years, our team has helped thousands of retirees and pre-retirees build a confident, predictable, and stress-free retirement plan. If you've worked hard for 30, 40 years, you deserve a retirement that works for you, not one filled with uncertainty, rising healthcare costs, or market concerns. At Guardian Investment Advisors, we take a comprehensive approach to retirement. That means we help you with building a reliable income plan so you know exactly where your paychecks will come from. Navigate Medicare with clarity, making sure you pick the right coverage to avoid costly mistakes. Preparing for long-term care needs with smart planning and protection strategies. Managing your investments with a personalized portfolio tailored to your goals, risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Reduce taxes wherever possible with proactive planning so you keep more of your hard-earned savings. You deserve a retirement plan built specifically for you, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Plan your retirement the right way. Call us today or connect with us using one of the many options below. Let's get started empowering your retirement right now. Thank you. Welcome back to Plan Today on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, your host and CEO at Guardian Investment Advisors. I got my co-host and my buddy Bobby Futchin here with me today. And we're really, here we are in 2026, and we're really discussing, some crazy things that went on in 2025. There was a lot of good. There was some negative. All kinds of different things went on. Bobby, I hate to ask, and maybe I should have prepped you for this. Did you have anything negative happen in 2025?
Personally or from a professional standpoint?
Personally.
I'm sure I did. I tended not to dwell on those kinds of things.
I try not to either, but I had a heart attack.
Yeah, nothing like that. Yeah.
I wrote that down. I was like, wow, did that really happen? It's been almost 9 months ago now.
Wow.
Yeah, which is crazy. But we don't want bad to happen to anybody. But I was thinking, man, that changed our year a lot for me and Rhonda personally. It changed our year a lot for here at the office.
Yeah.
We had to make a lot of changes for that. So a lot of things good, but I do want to try to dip into some Washington noise and versus real life impact. And, new administration came in, and I think Americans really, were absorbing the 2024 election because, the debates are still out there. There's still a lot of crazy political things going on out there, Bobby, but there is a lot of good that's came out of it. We just talked about the One Big Beautiful Bill, and there's some other things that have been good for Americans, but let's try to talk a little politics without choosing sides here.
Yeah.
And just something, what's on the top of your mind when it comes to the political stance of 2025?
How much of it there was.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I think that kind of feeds into, social media nowadays and how easily we have access to information all the time,
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah, all the
right?
time.
And the people that make that content, whether it's television or social media or wherever you get your news from, they got to fill a bunch of space, right? So they talk about stuff all the time, and there were some big ones, that came down last year.
Oh,
You
yeah.
mentioned the One Big Beautiful Bill Act,
Right.
tariffs.
Oh,
You guys
my
remember
gosh.
tariffs early in the year? That had a big impact on the market.
Sure.
It's stretched out across the entire year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of still in play.
It sure is.
And so that's something that can affect the markets and that we got to keep track of.
Right.
And so you have all these things that you get information from right away. I kind of talked about this in the first segment. It's hard not to have a knee-jerk reaction to a lot of those
Sure.
things.
Sure.
Doge was another one. You remember Elon Musk worked in Washington for a while?
That was a big one.
That I don't think was as effective as a lot of people hoped.
Right. Right.
But those are big moves
Yeah.
in politics, and every single one of them affected the market.
And so, did you see the markets? Do you feel that the markets were adjusted at any point, or do you think the markets reacted to some of this stuff that was going on?
Yeah, of course. So you remember, again, in early April, we had 2 days in a row.
Yeah,
that totaled
bad.
about 10% down
Bad.
in the markets. And that was really just a reaction to tariff talk.
Yeah, sure
right?
was.
And
That's all it was.
Here's the issue with that is President Trump came out and said, we're going to put tariffs on a lot of these countries. That's basically all he said,
That's all he said.
right? There were some numbers tied to that,
Yeah.
and they changed about every week. The market just doesn't like uncertainty.
That's right.
And I don't care where that uncertainty comes from. In that particular case, it came from, oh, wow, the president is, heck bent on putting tariffs on other countries
Right.
to try to protect industrial capacity in the United States and other things. Man, how's this going to work? And the numbers that he put out initially were,
They were
some
big.
big numbers.
Big numbers.
And as those started to get dialed back, as we had some more, conversations internationally with these countries, you kind of see where it went throughout the year.
Right.
The numbers came down.
Right.
Some of them were done away with entirely, and so the market had a little more clarity on what that might actually mean. If President Trump would have put 100% tariffs on China with a stroke of a pen,
Mm-hmm.
boy,
Mm-hmm.
I think we would have seen some chaos.
It's been crazy. Been crazy. Something else I guess politically that went on last year was all this stuff going on overseas. With Russia and Ukraine and all these different. I mean, the millions of dollars. First of all, the thousands of lives that were lost. That was just a disturbing part of 2025 to me personally.
Yeah, I agree
it
with
never
that.
should have been going on.
Yeah, I completely agree, and it's still going on. So we're praying for all the people over. That's such a terrible thing to have to go through.
It is. It's awful.
Something that we're blessed in the United States. It hadn't happened since the mid 1800s
Yeah, I know.
where we've fought in our country.
Right.
And so I couldn't imagine living that with every day. And that really affected energy markets.
100%. That was my next question to you. Yeah.
Not trying to downplay the personal effects of that conflict, but Ukraine is a huge energy producer.
Sure is.
And so is Russia.
Yeah.
Especially to Europe. And so while it didn't affect the United States directly, the rest of the world put a bunch of tariffs on Russia.
Yeah.
Basically said, we're not buying your oil and gas.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if the Europeans can't buy oil and gas from Russia, where are they going to get it from? Same place we get it from.
Right.
And so energy prices really went up, and that affects people at the gas pump, obviously.
Sure.
Right, but you got to think of everything else that needs energy. Most of the stock market is companies that have a high
need it.
energy demand.
Yeah.
And so as the cost of those inputs go up, we were afraid that inflation was going to take off.
Yeah. Exactly.
Luckily, we were able to move some things around. The United States is a big producer of energy now.
Sure.
Wasn't that way in the last 40, 50 years.
Right.
But because we have a lot more domestic capacity, that kind of fended that off. But it was certainly something we were concerned about.
So, Bobby, all these headlines are going on out there. We got, the wars that are going on, the uncertainty of Social Security, the uncertainty of future taxes, policy changes, all these things going on. How do you actually sit down with a client and have them try to erase that fear and look at reality? I mean, it's all about planning. Am I correct?
It is. And I don't think we want to erase the fear entirely.
Right. Okay.
Right? Burying your head in the sand is not a good answer.
That's true.
But you really have to take an objective look at these things and say, how is it going to affect my investments? How is it going to affect my planning? Right? To the point made earlier about Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're getting ready to retire, you're 55, 60 years old, let's take that worry off the table.
Yeah.
Right. You're pretty much locked in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barring some unforeseen political jockeying, right? But we went from a conflict in Russia and Ukraine that affected energy prices. Well, now we got some craziness going on in Venezuela.
Yeah, sure
right?
do.
We've got the United States, taking over
Yeah.
Venezuelan
Yeah.
oil tankers.
Big time.
Right. Well, where's that oil going to go? Luckily for the United States and a lot of our folks, we haven't been using Venezuelan energy for a long time.
Yeah.
But again, it's got to go somewhere. Somebody's got to use it. And if we've got 24 oil tankers off the coast of Venezuela anchored because the United States embargoed them, that's a big energy dip in the world.
So we have to be ready for that.
You got to be ready for it.
So how important is it for retirees or pre-retirees to be flexible? I mean that's the only word I can come up with right now. How to be flexible, because things are going to change. There's going to be policy change with politics. I mean, that's just the way it goes. That's life. How do you keep them flexible?
Yeah, it's vital to have a retirement plan that you can tweak and move.
Right.
Right. If you build a plan that's a retirement plan that's set it and forget it, something's going to break in that plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
Yeah.
5 years from now, 6 months from now, certainly 10 years from now, one of the variables you put in that plan isn't going to be the same anymore. So you got to be able to be flexible, and that means nimble in your investments.
Right.
That means prioritizing guaranteed income.
Yeah.
Right, because there are ways that you can guarantee income in retirement that doesn't care about Venezuelan oil tankers.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't care about income tax increases. Right, that money's going to be there, and so as long as you have all the pieces in place and they're allowed to move, you can build a plan that's robust.
And do you think, do you agree with me on this, that do you still feel that the number one fear in America right now is running out of money?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay. And do you agree that the number two fear in America is getting sick?
Yes.
Because number three fear in America now is actually dying.
Right.
When I started in this business almost 3 decades ago, dying was number one.
And I see that all the time when I talk with clients. What are your priorities? I don't want to run out of money. Okay, so we've got a tool to make sure you don't run out of money or take care of long-term care needs. Now you can do both at the same time.
That's right, which is
just
awesome.
kind of making a story here. Or do we need life insurance? He's like, well, I'm not worried about dying. Let's talk about income. And you see it play out.
Oh, absolutely.
When you plan with folks, just in their priorities when they talk to you.
Yeah.
Right? They go, well, if I pass away, I pass away. Right?
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about a whole lot anymore.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily true, but
yeah,
the income is the most important part.
I was talking to one of our, they're not a client of ours. They just called in and they saw our TV show. And on that TV show, I talked about long-term care. I mean, it was the number one topic on that show. And when I started throwing some stats out at this person just over the phone, they were just kind of blown away, because it's like, he said to me, Gary, I don't want to even think about long-term care. I said, none of us do, brother.
Yeah.
None of us want to think about it, but here's what I don't want you to think about you. I want you to think about your wife, your children, and your family.
Yeah, the problem is people don't want to think about it until it's too late.
That's right. Then you can't get anything.
Yeah, when you start getting sick, the planning is a lot harder.
It's so much harder. And we got 60 seconds or so, Bobby. Don't we have some amazing tools to help you be ready if you get sick?
Yeah.
And if you don't get sick, the money passes to the family?
Without a doubt. I'm actually talking to a lady after our radio show about an option there. They had a bunch of money in the bank sitting there, right, getting probably
cobweb money?
0.01% interest. And so there's a fixed indexed annuity that will allow you to put those monies into a plan, get a guaranteed roll-up at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you need it, you can get a guaranteed monthly benefit for long-term care. If you don't use it, it's just like a CD at the bank.
That's right.
Beneficiary
It just keeps
to your
growing,
kids.
passes to your beneficiaries.
But whatever money you put in it, if you go through underwriting, you can either double or triple
That's incredible.
that initial benefit.
That's
make
incredible.
Sure it's there for you.
And the underwriting is not that difficult on these things. They're really not. I mean, we had a couple in here that were 78 and 77, got them the triple benefit.
That's
And
awesome.
they were on some medications and different things like that, but we were able to do it. If that's something that's a concern of yours, one, income planning, it needs to be a concern of yours. It should be. And getting sick. That's two of the main things we talk about with all of our clients here at Guardian Investment Advisors. And we'd love to have a conversation with you. One thing we're doing for you right now is giving away a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow, absolutely free. Call 423-710-9199 or text the word book to the same number, 423-710-9199. We're going to send the book right out to you. When we come back, family, and life events of 2025. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Gary Thurman, owner and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. For years, our team has helped thousands of retirees and pre-retirees build a confident, predictable, and stress-free retirement plan. If you've worked hard for 30, 40 years, you deserve a retirement that works for you, not one filled with uncertainty, rising healthcare costs, or market concerns. At Guardian Investment Advisors, we take a comprehensive approach to retirement. That means we help you with building a reliable income plan so you know exactly where your paychecks will come from. Navigate Medicare with clarity, making sure you pick the right coverage to avoid costly mistakes. Preparing for long-term care needs with smart planning and protection strategies. Managing your investments with a personalized portfolio tailored to your goals, risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Reduce taxes wherever possible with proactive planning so you keep more of your hard-earned savings. You deserve a retirement plan built specifically for you, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Plan your retirement the right way. Call us today or connect with us using one of the many options below. Let's get started empowering your retirement right now. Thank you. Welcome back. Plan today, on tomorrow. Guardian Investment Advisors. I'm Gary Thurman. I hope you guys are enjoying our show. I'm in here with my good buddy Bobby Futch today, and we're talking about some things that happened in 2025 carrying over to 2026, which a lot of it has carried over to 2026. But hey, we want to say Happy New Year to everybody. We hope this is the best year you've ever had. And speaking of having the best year ever, I think one of the things that I saw turn last year, Bobby, people, they still worried about their money. They worried about their finances. They worried about their retirement planning. But because of some research I was doing, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes, I saw people really taking a step up on taking care of themselves. I think people are getting a little more focused on the health aspect of retiring. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. And we've spent a lot more time last year than I can really remember in my career. Not nearly as long as yours, but I've been doing this for a while. And I've spent a lot of time talking about what people wanted to do in retirement.
Okay. What
right?
lifestyle?
What lifestyle,
okay.
What they were going to do to stay active, what were they going to, volunteer, what passion were they going to find
sure.
in retirement? And I think those two things are intertwined because if you retire and just, sit on the couch, that's not a good mixture.
But life expectancy is not too long.
Yeah, but finding something that gets you up out of bed in the mornings when you don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll admit my bed was super comfy and warm this morning, right? So I could see if I didn't have to come to work, I may still be laying in that sucker. And it's easy. It's an easy trap to get into.
Oh, sure. But you don't want to get in that trap.
That's right. You've got to find something that keeps you active mentally and physically in retirement.
And I'm glad you said that. So one of the things, and I told you I've been doing a lot of research, is my brand new book is almost ready. We're still doing some editing on it, but the title of the book is going to be called Retire Strong. And this book is all about protecting your health and your wealth. And when I started going through all this research, Bobby, and looking at the stats, here we are, the wealthiest country in the world. We have technology out. I mean, it's just incredible what this country has to offer to keep people healthy, yet we're one of the most unhealthy countries out there. And just a personal opinion, why do you think that is?
Apathy, really? It's easier just to not worry about it, not to deal with it. You got other things, and you can prioritize your concerns in any way you please.
That's right. Yeah.
And health is often an odd one because until your health starts to fail, it's easy to ignore.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is.
I think that has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, I do too. And I just think, a lot of Americans, and I'm not trying to offend anybody here by saying this at all, but I think a lot of Americans take the easy way out. They run through and get the fast food because they're so busy.
Yeah.
We got, unfortunately, prescriptions being just handed out there, and a lot of people don't think about the side effects of some of these prescriptions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're tough. And one of the things I've been talking to all of my clients about here lately is taking control of your health now. Make it a priority so that later down the road, you're good.
Yeah.
If you make it a priority now, kind of like planning for retirement. If you plan today, you can own tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, if you focus on your health today, you'll be healthier tomorrow. I mean, it's just the way it goes.
And it doesn't have to be, huge changes all at once, right? Those are hard to sustain. Gary, you know this. My wife works for a primary care physician.
Sure.
And I think the world of him, nicest guy. Whenever we have private conversations, he refuses to say that he works in healthcare.
Oh, really?
He works in
That's interesting.
sick care.
Sick care, okay?
And that's his way of talking about the point that we're really talking about. How many of us, aside from the one time a year, go talk to a professional about things that can make us healthy?
Yeah.
The vast majority of time when people go to the doctor, it's because there's something wrong.
Something wrong.
And that's when they deal with it, right? When something's wrong, that's when it really comes to front of mind.
Yeah.
And it really should be something you're thinking about all the time.
Well, it should. And I don't care to share personal stories. It's been about 3.5 years ago when I decided to, Bobby, 20-something years ago, I was a fitness instructor. I mean, I was in massive great shape. Motorcycle wreck, I continued to eat horrible.
Easy to do.
And, with my leg, I couldn't work out like I used to. And I ended up, taking on a lot of weight. But 3.5 years ago, I was like, I got to stop. And I'm going to throw a plug out to my buddy Josh Porter, because Josh Porter, I mean, I say it all the time, he saved my life, because he was able to help guide me and direct me on what to be doing, the steps to be taking. And that's what I'm trying to do for people now.
And that's true healthcare.
And I'm not
right?
a doctor. I'm not a doctor. But I give people the information and then go, now go see my friend Josh and his company, and they can help you out. He's got an amazing group here in Chattanooga and in Knoxville now. But, I mean, people ignore things like hormone therapy. And that is so big. People don't realize how big of an impact that has on your body. And I don't care if you're 25 or 85. Hormone therapy is a real thing. And if your hormones are jacked up, you probably don't have a good marriage.
Well, it makes
you
everything
eat
else,
horrible.
Yeah, it makes everything else more difficult, right?
It does.
You could be working out and running all the time and not losing weight. And to your point, there's probably something else going on there.
Yeah, that's right.
And to your point, Josh does what I call true health care.
True health care.
Right?
I like that.
Trying to keep people healthier, trying to guide them. I don't think he doesn't see people when they're sick, right? I mean, that's not his practice.
That's not what he does.
So he's just trying to make people healthier.
I love it.
And it's awesome.
I do. So rising healthcare costs, we've already kind of beat that up on today's show. That's another reason to try to start taking care of yourself now. We don't want any of you to get sick. Longevity risk is a real thing. We are actually living longer, so your opportunity to get sick is greater now than it's ever been before. And just to give you some stats, just assisted living here in our beautiful state of Tennessee is about $5,000 a month, and it gets higher than that. I mean, if you get really sick, full skill care, you're $9,000-$10,000 a month for that care, Bobby. And a lot of people don't have that money set aside. I mean, it's crazy to me. But just general health care costs.
Yeah.
Fidelity. Talk about that study for a few minutes.
Yep, Fidelity did a study. We're going to set aside the long-term care, Gary.
Set
just
aside.
talked about,
Set it
right?
aside.
Because if I do quick math, $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year, right? Most people don't spend that for all their expenses in retirement.
No.
But a healthy 65-year-old couple can be expected to pay almost over $300,000, $170,000.
About $170 a pop.
Per person.
So $340, $350 a couple.
That's just for doctor's visits. That's just for prescription medicine. That's just for all the stuff that you do normally.
Yeah.
Right. And then, God forbid, you get sick. It goes up another $120,000. Right. That is a lot of money that, if not planned for properly, can really blow up your plan.
Yeah, and a lot of people think Medicare covers all this.
Yeah.
It does not. Now, Medicare can cover you for some of these expenses up to about 100 days, and that's if you go from a hospital to a facility. Right. Don't go home. Don't make a stop to get clothes at home. You got to go straight to that facility, and I'm serious about that. But now they're talking about Medicare. Now, this is an assumption, talking about Medicare going up about 8% a year in cost. That's that Fidelity study, right?
That's right.
I mean,
and we mentioned that earlier when you talk about inflation and everyone's happy inflation's under 3%. That's not for everything. That's an average of everything that we have to buy. And to your point, 8% for healthcare going up, that's not out of, that's a pretty reasonable historical rate of inflation for healthcare.
That's right. And that's why it's important to have these conversations now. And yes, we do financial planning, retirement planning here, but this has become a part of our practice. Yeah. We want to keep people as healthy as we can, because if we have the conversations now and we get you with the right people now, then we don't have to worry about your financial plan falling apart from an illness or something. And Bobby, here's another question, and this is kind of a tough one. Another thing I found in this study that I did is the mental health issues that we have in this country. And a lot of those can be avoided if people just get with the right people.
Yeah. Stay active, keep your health up. That kind of helps. I'm happy that talking to a therapist and going to therapy and all that, it's not taboo to talk about it anymore.
No.
Right? You get more and more people being proactive about it, being open about it, and how it helps them. I just think it's awesome because, that's a good point. You can have physical health and emotionally you can be a wreck.
Yeah.
It can be the opposite, right? You can have your emotional health and physically be a wreck. You've got to have both in order to be completely healthy.
It's great. We're going to be doing more of these coming up, so be listening for this. But we did a lunch and learn here at our office on the 4th floor, and it was myself and Josh and my friend Michelle who really focuses on the brain and how to keep your brain healthy. Every single client that came to that event, every single client came up and said that was one of the best events we've ever been to.
Awesome.
Because we wasn't just talking about money. As a matter of fact, we didn't talk about money at all. We talked about their health and how to stay healthy. And it was myself and Josh and Michelle. It was just an amazing event. And if you're listening and you're in Knoxville, we're having that same event coming up in January. So put this on your calendars. At the end of January, it's the 22nd and the 24th. You can come on a Thursday night or a Saturday morning. And it's going to be myself and Josh. And we're titling this whole thing about how to protect your wealth and your health. I say all the time, why are you so stressed about your wealth if you don't have any health to enjoy it?
Yeah.
Right? So you got to have that health. So my book, Retire Strong, it will be coming out early 2026. So be listening for us to talk about that. I'm excited about sharing that opportunity with that book with you guys. And we're going to have a big event here in the upcoming year talking about that and have you guys all out. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Retire Strong coming soon here in 2026. And I'm excited about it, Bobby. I hope it helps people. I hope it's a guide.
Will I be able to get a signed copy?
Are you going to get a signed copy?
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna put some lipstick on. I'm gonna kiss the front page and everything for you.
I think this is one of the most exciting things about being with Guardian, and we don't have too much time. I'm fairly new, about a year and a half now with you guys.
Yeah.
But it really is. You wrote a whole book about it. And even, when I started, we have Tanner Moore here in our office
that's right.
that does health insurance planning.
That's right.
To make sure you have the right fit, because even if you go on, I'm just going to go on Medicare. We hear that all the time. There's a lot more to it than that.
There's a lot of choices.
And then when Tim Brogan and I put our financial plan together for you, we can go right down to Tim and ask, okay, what are their health care insurance look like? God forbid something catastrophic happens. What do we need to be able to plan for?
That's right.
And it fits together seamlessly.
I love it. Hey, you worried about income planning, healthcare planning, Medicare planning? Give us a call. 423-710-9199. 423-710-9199. Absolutely complimentary review. Come in and see us. We'd love to talk to you. When we come back, we're going to finish strong what 2025 taught us and how to win in 2026. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Gary Thurman, owner and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. For years, our team has helped thousands of retirees and pre-retirees build a confident, predictable, and stress-free retirement plan. If you've worked hard for 30, 40 years, you deserve a retirement that works for you, not one filled with uncertainty, rising healthcare costs, or market concerns. At Guardian Investment Advisors, we take a comprehensive approach to retirement. That means we help you with building a reliable income plan so you know exactly where your paychecks will come from. Navigate Medicare with clarity, making sure you pick the right coverage to avoid costly mistakes. Preparing for long-term care needs with smart planning and protection strategies. Managing your investments with a personalized portfolio tailored to your goals, risk tolerance, and your retirement timeline. Reduce taxes wherever possible with proactive planning so you keep more of your hard-earned savings. You deserve a retirement plan built specifically for you, not a one-size-fits-all approach. Plan your retirement the right way. Call us today or connect with us using one of the many options below. Let's get started empowering your retirement right now. Thank you. Hey folks, welcome back. Plan Today on Tomorrow. We've been having a blast today, talking about 2025, going into 2026. My name's Gary Thurman, CEO, Guardian Investment Advisors. I'm in here with my good friend, Bobby Futch today. And man, we've had a great conversation.
It's been a good show.
It's been a good show. So if you didn't catch the whole show, you can always go to our website, GIAplantoday.com, GIAplantoday.com. Go up to the media tab, scroll down a podcast. It's actually our radio show without commercials. So go and look for it. I think you get something out of it. It's a lot of fun. Bobby, I wanted to read this about 2025. Americans refocused on control and certainty. More than any single headline, 2025 was defined by a mindset shift. People wanted simplicity, guarantees, and control in finances, health, time, and legacy. That emotional shift shaped consumer behavior, voting patterns, and retirement planning. That's pretty good stuff.
That is awesome.
That's pretty good stuff.
That's important to me too, because I have social media. You know, Gary, you know, you get on me all the time. You check your,
yeah.
I don't. I'm bad about that, right? Tristan's over there laughing because, anyway, I'll leave Tristan alone. He's our young producer. The point is, it's just so hard to have that much access to information all the time and not get overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to hear, you know, that people are starting to focus a lot more, you know, really kind of dig into the headlines. Don't get bombarded by everything that's possible, because you can spend all day on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Good. I'm glad people are starting to refocus.
I did
really
too. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal a couple of days ago, Bobby, and I think I might have talked about this already, but it was talking about, you know, the top 10 things the wealthiest people in America do. You know what number one was? Spend time alone, spend time with family, away from your phone, away from work, away from your computer. And, you know, that's been a big thing for me in 2025. Now, of course, unfortunately, I had the heart attack. So it really made me start thinking about, you know, do I need to work 12, 13, 14 hours a day? Or can I relax a little bit, depend on my people like Bobby and Tim and Brogan and everybody else here at Guardian to do so many different things and take more time? You know, I got a grandson now. That was one of my highlights of 2025, being able to hang out with him. But you got to take time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not so important?
It is, and for, you know, a lot of professionals, you know, working, like, we can't put our phones down during the day, right? It's a big tool that we have to work. So then, you know, if you're used to having it 8-10 hours a day in your pocket, you know, on your desk right next to you, you got to consciously make that shift. When you get home, I'm not saying turn it off and put it in a drawer.
No.
But put it aside.
Put it aside, yeah.
That's something that my wife and I have really thought about doing. We found ourselves last year, you know, we'd be sitting on the couch, you know, talking to June, doing homework or something, and I'll subconsciously pick up my telephone. Like,
yeah. What are you doing?
What am I doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
I don't even know why I picked it up half the time.
But yeah.
Right. But
you're
to be
bored. You're kind of bored. You're like, hey, what am I going to do here?
To be present, I think you have to do that. And the
I love
phones are
it.
a big part of it.
I'm going to throw some top lessons from 2025 at you, Bobby.
All right,
and you give me your comments here. Planning beats prediction.
Yeah, especially in our business, it's really hard to predict anything accurately, right? You know, even the best stock traders in the world, you know, can't tell what the market's going to do. But by putting a plan in place that can withstand, you know, some of the most
stressful
or most probable outcomes.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know, you don't have to pick the right outcome. You can plan for a handful of outcomes.
Absolutely.
And if one of them does happen, you're taken care of.
That's right.
But you got to be proactive about that.
Speaking of that, income matters more than growth.
Without a doubt. For most people.
For most people.
For in retirement planning, income absolutely matters more than growth. You know, you're 20, 30 years old. I'd say maybe flip those. Income's still important.
Yeah.
But you need that growth. If you plan well, you don't necessarily need to take the risk and get, you know, 20% returns like we've seen in some of our strategies this year. You don't need the risk. You don't need the returns. So why risk it?
Yeah.
Plan for those income streams.
I love it.
Get as many as you can, and growth would be secondary.
And I love this one. Again, I've been doing this business for 29 years. Last month, taxes don't disappear in retirement. But Gary, when I retire, my taxes are going to go down. Are they?
Maybe. But that doesn't mean you need to plan for it, right? Just because you may be paying less, a smaller dollar amount, right, doesn't necessarily mean that your effective income tax rate has gone down. You're not earning as much money, so of course it would make sense if you paid less. But that's when it matters the most, and you really got to sharpen that knife and get there, because, you know, Tim says this all the time. One tax begets another tax.
That's right.
Right. So if you don't plan for tax-efficient distributions in retirement, you may be paying more income taxes than you need.
Right.
Then maybe you run into IRMA charges.
That's right.
It
really adds up.
It adds up, and it can add up quick. And it's all about keeping as much money in your pocket as you possibly can.
I love that.
But, you know, there's also people that have saved really well.
Oh, they're good.
Once they get to RMD age, they will absolutely be paying more dollars.
Oh, 100%.
75 plus than when they were working.
Right? I know you were working on a huge case here lately where the guy, his RMDs and his taxes were going to be crazy high.
It was going to be crazy, and he had guaranteed income from pensions and annuities. He didn't need those RMDs, and those RMDs were very quickly going to become $100,000 a year for this gentleman.
Ooh, that's
And
a
guess
lot.
what? That's all ordinary income.
That's taxes.
You're going to be paying a
Uncle
lot
Sam
in
loves you.
taxes.
Yeah.
So, of course, there are ways to avoid that.
Sure.
You just got to sit down and do it.
I like this one. Health is a financial issue.
I agree with that one.
Oh, 100%.
I agree with that one, right? One from the enjoyment standpoint.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I hate to see, unfortunately, we had a couple weeks ago, Tim and I went to a visitation for a client.
Yeah.
Man, he was just a dear man. We loved him a lot. He retired in 2025. Right now, he did take care of himself. He got sick, unfortunately,
Yeah.
but he didn't get to enjoy it.
Right.
And I hate to see that happen to people, right?
I know.
Retire and then get sick and not be able to enjoy what you work for, so that's important. And then also, man, if you get sick, it's expensive,
It's crazy expensive.
right? So even if
it's
you
so
don't pass
bad.
away, you got to make sure you're taking care of your health to keep more money in your pocket so you can
Yeah.
do things you enjoy.
You reminded me of my client, and she's still living in Cleveland. You know, she got diagnosed with full Alzheimer's at 63.
Yeah. it's
You
awful.
know, so her and her husband's life totally changed. But they planned for it. So they're good. I love this one, Bobby. Confidence comes from clarity.
Yeah, this is probably the favorite part of my job that I do. We talked about a lot of stuff in today's show. Oil embargoes,
Yeah.
tariffs.
A lot of stuff.
You don't need to understand all that stuff.
No.
That's what we're here for.
Ah, good point.
Right? And if you want to know what Venezuelan oil embargoes may do to the stock market, we'd be happy to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Right? Matter of fact, we might enjoy it and get a little too nerdy on you.
Yeah.
But the important part of our job is to make sure we understand those things, how it matters to you,
Mm-hmm.
and distill it in a way that you can understand.
I,
we have
I
this
love that.
awesome-
Understands the key word.
Yeah. And listen, a lot of clients, they say, Bobby, Tim, Brogan, you guys are all over it. I don't care to know that. That's what you're here for, right?
That's right.
But we got to make sure that you understand the plan. And we've got a great bucket strategy here that
It's
we
easy.
talk about all the time.
It's easy.
We've got a red, green, and yellow bucket. It allows each bucket is there for a different reason in
Right.
retirement. You need to have all three,
Yeah.
and they need to fit together to solve what your retirement picture looks like.
Sure.
And it's a real easy way to understand the
I,
plan.
I love to see people's reaction.
Yeah.
You know, they're thinking they're going to come in and see pie charts and all this stuff all over the place, and they see buckets.
Yeah. We literally have a graphic that we throw up on the screen that
Yeah.
looks like 3 preschool buckets.
I love it.
Right, and we use that to kind of explain the plan and each one of the pieces and how they all work for you.
So someone's listening to the show today, pre-retiree, just retired, 2026. A couple of things I think are important, Bobby. They need to know what their risk number is.
Yeah, without a doubt. And so one of the things we do for almost everybody that walks through the door is analyze what your current investments are.
Mm-hmm.
And it will assign a risk score to that portfolio. And it will break it down further so we can have a granular conversation about how much risk you taking, what kind of returns can you expect from those assets. And I would say more importantly for most retirees and pre-retirees is what are the downside risks of your current portfolio? People have what I call recency bias. The markets have been so good for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
One of our, conservative portfolios this year did 18%.
Yeah, it sure did. And it's conservative.
Yeah, and Tim and I were pumped about that.
Yeah.
But I spent most of the back half of last year showing people those numbers and trying to not have them get too excited.
Exactly.
Right? Because that's not what it's designed to do. My point is it's easy to get blinded by those big numbers.
Yeah.
Want to keep getting those returns. The market's going to turn over at some
It
point.
does. Yeah.
And
Always
you got to
does.
make sure that's more important. You got to keep losses hurt way more than earnings feel good.
That's
How about
right.
that?
And this was a big one to me. We're close on time, but we'll wrap up here. Does your spouse understand the plan? How big is that?
That's really big. We see a lot of times there's one spouse that does all the financial planning, pays the bills, takes care of the investments, and maybe it wasn't planned for that way, but we find out that the other spouse doesn't really know what's going on.
That's right. Yeah.
Doesn't know where the bills are being paid from, don't know where the assets are. That can be a big issue if the primary financial spouse gets sick. So
Yeah.
almost all the time we pretty much beg
That's
to,
right.
to meet with both spouses when,
That's right.
when we meet with somebody to put a plan together for that very reason.
I've got a whole section in my book here, just on women, because I mean sometimes there's life's a little different.
Mhm.
Life's a little different for them, and they need to understand. So, a couple different things I think you need. One, you need a written financial plan. Two, you need to know your risk number. You need a tax strategy. You need to have health care inside this plan. You need to be ready, folks. Longevity, we talked about it today. We beat it up a little bit. It's real. And healthcare costs are outrageous right now. And I do think it's smart. If you are someone with a spouse, you need to be on the same page. You need to communicate. You need to have weekly or monthly meetings about retirement. My wife and I do it every single week, and we love it. It's fun for us to talk about things like that. Get on the same page. Now, like I said earlier, coming up pretty soon, my book, Retire Strong. We're going to be talking about that a lot in the next few weeks because we are so excited about that book. And I just want you guys to take this show. Hopefully you learned something from 2025. And, Bobby, they can just go into 2026 and have a blast.
That's right.
Live every day like a Saturday.
That's right.
Good show, Bobby.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Hey, folks, listen, again, if you'd like a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow, 423-710-9199. Give the ladies a call. Let them know. They'll send it right out. Or text the word book to 423-710-9199. We'll get your information from you, and we'll send it right out to you absolutely free. Hope you guys enjoy it. Once you read the book, then come in and see Bobby, Tim, Brogan. Let's get you set up on a great plan. So if you plan now and you plan today, you can absolutely own tomorrow. Hey, guys, thank you. We'll be back next week. Take care.